All right, everybody, another fun day of fun and adventure. So got Chase here with Conway Truck Service. They were nice enough to make a trip down here to my office so I didn't have to tow this thing. And we are putting in is a fuel primer. Is that what it is, Chase? Yeah, we're putting in a new fuel primer. This thing, package hand primer. This little thing right here was $172 for this little thing. This looks like something you ought to be able to pick up at Lowe's for like 15 bucks, and it was 170 some dollars. So, but couldn't get the truck to start this morning. It wouldn't prime, it wouldn't start. It'll turn over, but it's just not getting fuel. So the fuel was leaking out of that thing right down in there. Chase has got it coming out right now. It was pouring out of that thing. So I'd had a couple of times had some trouble getting this truck to start, and what we had done was basically just pressurize the fuel tank, and it mostly happened when the tank was either had about a half a tank of fuel or less. So I just taken an air nozzle. One of the other mechanics over at Conway Truck Service showed me this. When that happens, you just take an air nozzle and you can pressurize this tank, like you take a rag and cover over the cap and then stick an air nozzle down in there and blow air into the tank. And a lot of times it'll force that fuel up into the I guess the pump system to get it to start. Well, it wouldn't do it. So cracked it open, and that's what was leaking. So hopefully that's the problem. There it is right there. It's 26 years old, so I'd say that's pretty good life. That looks like that's the original part too. It's still got the paint on it, that blue paint, so that's, I'm guessing that's original to that engine. 26 years, I can't complain about that. So all right, so hopefully we're gonna find out if she fires up. Okay. Hold on. Might be a reason to put that spare fitting in there. Probably. It's probably an extension to. Yeah. You need a Teflon for that? Does that need Teflon, you think?
It's Teflon. I know, but see, it's got a copper O-ring.
Oh, okay. Gotcha, gotcha. All right. See if that works.
Look at that.
There she goes.
Find a wrench to fit that out. There's got a hole in it.
You ain't got much room to work with there, do you?
It's kind of tight. I don't want to, like, you know, take all these other. When you called this morning, it sounded like you was in a bind.
Well, I got work with this dump truck that I was supposed to go do today, and which I may still go do actually. If this thing will fire up and go, I may actually go do it. And I got another job later this week where I got to haul off some topsoil and sod for a guy who stripped a yard. On like probably Thursday. Let's see if she lives. Moment of truth. Nope. Not quite yet.
Battery charger up?
Huh? You want to hook the charger up?
Yeah, just so you don't
Kill the battery again? Yeah.
Because there might be another issue. That's just, you know, is what you figured was going on with the truck. You know what I mean?
Yep. Here we go.
So I figured it'd be cheaper, you know, try to help you. And how much would it cost? Probably around $800,000 to tow this thing.
Yeah, probably about right.
This truck.
All right, let's see what we got. All right, I'm gonna put it on 40 amp and we'll see what it does. I'm gonna try it again. Okay.
See if this is getting in. Turn the motor over.
Now? Yeah. What?
Pretty sure that's the actual fuel pump right there. That primes to the filter.
Yeah.
And that pump, because it's got a cog in there.
Yeah.
Like a cam, and that makes that pump. And that's
Is anything coming out of there? Oh.
Well, had a lot of air in that. All right, turn the motor over some more.
All right.
You turn the motor, see there's air bubbles.
Is air coming out?
Yeah.
Oh. Get all the air out?
Seemed like it was coming out pretty decent fuel.
So she's getting fuel.
Okay. All right, let's see if we get fuel to come out of that.
All right. Yay? Yay or nay?
Keep turning the motor over. It might take a while to prime.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Oh wait, I got
Hey. Can you is that the throttle?
No, that's the choke.
Okay, that's the choke.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you just choked it when you pulled it.
Wouldn't that help?
No. You actually choked it out. That's how you cut it off.
Okay. That's the throttle. There.
Yeah.
All right.
Go ahead. She lives!
Looks like see that leaking?
Is it still leaking? Oh, okay. Good deal. All right.
Worried about that?
You're the mechanic, you tell me.
That'd be okay.
I'll take the water hose and spray it off. Thank you very much, Chase. All right, guys, so this is today's other little project. Is trying to deal with the teeth on this bucket, and I'll show you what's going on with it. If you didn't check my other videos where I kept having problems losing the teeth off this bucket. And these teeth, when I bought this machine, they told me these teeth had been replaced fairly recently. So what's going on here is, let's see if I've got enough room to work here. And there's some stuff in the dirt in the hole there, but let's see. Well, oh goodness. We may have to do something with that. I think that would move like that. Let's see. Well, the rock all the way back. Let's see if I can move that. Whoa. Stay. Stupid bucket. Okay, so let's try that again. So what we've got here is these teeth. When you put these pins, so these teeth are held in place by these little pins. You put these pins in here, they're really loose. I'll put this tooth down, you can kind of see what I'm talking about here. You see how easy that slides through there, and you can actually hear it moving in there a little bit. It's wobbly. So that pin is not staying in with this to hold this tooth in place. Now in my old John Deere bucket, these pins, and these pins should work with these teeth because they're the exact same teeth. They fit really tight, and so they just kind of compress themselves in there. But since they're not on these, they're falling out and allowing the teeth to go away. So my solution to that, and I think those are a little loose, but the pins seem to be pretty tight in there. You know, the teeth are a little loose. That's no big deal, but these two are a disaster. And you can tell where when they replaced these teeth, they tried to fill in these gaps with some weld to kind of keep them from moving too much. Well, the weld has come out of these. It didn't look like it penetrated. They're still on the front a little bit, but most of it's come off. So my solution is to take my little MIG welder and try to see if I can't put a bead of weld on the top of these pins and just kind of cover them up, and that should hold them in place if I can, as long as I can get a good bead and get it to penetrate. So that's what I'm going to try to do. We'll see if it works. Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. I've got two welders over here. I've got this stick welder on a 220, and I'm okay with it, but I'm only good with these really thin rods, but that should be all I need. I'm pretty decent with them. These thicker rods, I'm not that great with. But to do those, you really have to turn it up to get those to work. I can run off to about 75 on this thing with those thin rods, and they work really well. I can actually get a pretty decent bead. I was practicing in here the other day. Where was my bead? I think that's it right there. It's decent. Nothing, that's all Kelly's crap, but that was my bead right there. That's decent. But I got this other little MIG welder. It doesn't have any gas, but it should work, I think, for what I'm doing. I've welded a couple little light things with it. Even without the gas, it still seems to work. So we'll crank it up and see what it does. Let's knock these pins out and see what we can do. So these are both new teeth. These are both the John Deere teeth that I got. The other one that I lost was one of the older teeth, which was good. At least I didn't lose the new one one of the newer ones that I bought. So, but these teeth are fairly new. You can see there's not much, if any, difference in them wear-wise. So we should be good with that. They won't be uneven. So I'm hoping this works. We're gonna find out. So let me grab the welder and we will see what happens. I could screw this up or this could be a success. We'll find out. So I'm gonna try to do this without having to hit any of these teeth or the pins with the grinder. They, at least these in here, they're kind of already set in there. It'd be kind of hard for me to get the grinder wheel down there to touch them. So I'm gonna just try to leave them as be and just see if I can get a bead over them. And we'll see, maybe it works, maybe it doesn't. It's just sort of a trial and error thing. So we'll see. Like I said, it doesn't have to be anything perfect, you know, and then when it's ready to change these teeth, it'll just have a little bit of a weld bead here on the top that I can just grind off and just knock the teeth right out. Nothing too crazy. I don't want them to be locked in there permanently. I just want to put something on top of them to kind of lock them in place to keep them from falling out. And if I need to touch them up again with a little more weld later down the road, that's not a big deal. So I'm using this little Lincoln 140 Easy MIG. This is my dad's. He got it from Lowe's just to kind of piddle around with. I've used it a couple times just to weld some light gauge metal on the like the box cover on top of the pump on the MTL XCT. You guys can check that video out. It worked perfect for that. Like I said, no gas, but if this thing doesn't have enough mustard without the gas to do what I needed to do, I've got, like I said, I've got the stick welder in there and it's got plenty of juice to do what I need to do. So I'm a little bit better with this MIG as far as control in my beads and stuff like that. But obviously we don't have gas and this is just on a 110, so we'll see if it's got enough power. I'm not a professional welder. I know about enough about welding to be dangerous. So we'll see what happens, but I'm hopeful. That's all we can do. So I went ahead and just ground the tips of these pins just to get the crap off the end of them. These two that I took out, and I think that'll make my life a little easier. Like it's not already hard enough dealing with this stuff on a day in, day out basis. Trying to keep this equipment going. So I think that should work pretty good. And if the other ones don't work, I'll pop them out and we will ground those two and we'll see what happens. All right, the moment of truth. Let's see what happens. I think it's a little too hot. I'm gonna turn it down a little bit. I'll turn my speed up a little bit as well. There might be, ow, too much speed. That might actually work. That might actually work. I'll be damned. Oh, damn, I went right into the thing. Ah. Might need to turn it up a little bit, but I don't think that's going anywhere. I mean, the tooth is still a little loose on there, but the pin's not moving. But the pin's not welded. It looks like the pin might be actually welded to the tooth, but it's not so bad in there that I don't think it can't be knocked loose out of there, you know, ground off and knocked out of there. Worst comes to worst, it could be drilled. So I think that'll work. I shouldn't have a problem with that again. And I don't know if I want to fill that in right there. I might just let those teeth be loose and that'll be fine. I kind of do need a bead there, but I don't think that might be past my expertise to really do something like that. But might do that at a later date. I just want to get these pins locked in. That'll be fine for now. Let's on to the next one. See how it goes. Oh, hat, helmet, thingy, shield. Stop. I know all you professional welders out there are probably laughing your asses off at me right now with whatever it is that I'm doing, but if it works, it works. I don't weld for a living and I don't advertise as a welder, but sometimes needs must. And I couldn't haul this thing to a welder just for this little bit. Sometimes you just got to make do. Fake it till you make it. So let's see if that works. I'm going to turn this up just a little bit more on the power side and see if that gets me a little. I had it turned all the way up when I first started welding on that, and then I turned it down. I had it on D, which is the highest, and I turned it to B. So we shall see. So I wasn't getting an arc with this second tooth, so I hit it with the grinder, the table grinder over there. So hopefully that gets a little more better connection and maybe we can get an arc here. looks pretty solid. See if I can do the rest of them. I may have to take them off just to get them with the grinder on the tips if I can't get an arc. We'll just play that one by ear. All right. Beautimus. Beautimus. Ah. That. So there it is. And that will work. It's nothing fancy, nothing structural, nothing even really all that great, but it should be effective. And that is all I'm looking for. So what they did here, and this is a good example, you can see like they took a welder to keep these teeth from kind of rattling around. They took a welder and filled in these gaps between the tooth holder and the tooth itself, like the tooth mount and the tooth itself, to keep them from rattling around. And I guess the weld really didn't bite very good or weld into this metal right here very well. I guess they didn't have it hot enough. It really just didn't, I guess, penetrate very well. That's the word. And so slowly but surely, as I used this bucket and these teeth started moving, these welds just started popping out and opening up these cracks. And then that was kind of what was keeping these pins held in place, because that weld was wedging, the weld was kind of acting as a wedge between the tooth holder and the tooth. And then as they started falling out, the teeth started moving all over the place, and then those pins started working loose. So, and then that's how I lost these two teeth right here. But if they move a little bit, that's okay. As long as the pin stays in there to hold the tooth in place, that's all I care about. I'm not really concerned about a little bit of movement on the end of these teeth. I don't use this bucket that much anyway. And if I have to get in there a little bit and Dremel that out and put a bead of weld in there, I guess I could somehow. I'd probably have to, I'd be worried because if I took the teeth off and then I welded this and it was too much, then I got to grind it back down, and then the teeth don't fit right, and it's just kind of a pain to have to deal with. And I just didn't want to mess with all that. So, but I probably could get a little bit of a bead in there if I wanted to, but time will tell on that. But this should hold these teeth for now. I don't use this bucket a whole lot. I don't do a lot of heavy digging. I think when I went and did that retaining wall job, digging in that hard rocky ground is probably what did most of it with these pins. That's where I first noticed them, these two working loose, was when I did that job. So this should hold for now. So that's my TED Talk for the day about how to do crappy welding. I hope you guys enjoyed. No, this should work. I'm not a welder. I don't claim to be, but when I need to do some, I typically just figure out a way to do it and it works. So the weld that I did on the MTL, on the hydraulic cover, that thing still works great. I mean, that's holding really well. That has worked out really well so far. So that turned out well. I think this will be fine. And if the beads rust off or whatever and I need to hit them again, that's no big deal. I didn't really want too much penetration. I didn't want it to be too hot. I don't want those pins stuck in there for life. I think they're more just glued to the teeth than they are to the holder, which is perfect. So they should be able to just knock them right, grind that off and knock them right back out of there. That shouldn't be too hard. So that should work perfect. Awesome. Well, that's two problems fixed for this week. The dump truck and this bucket. That's two things I wanted to get done, and we got it done. So perfect. All right, well, I'm gonna wrap this up, and I appreciate you guys coming to hang out with me today on this video. Hope you enjoyed. I'm sure I'm gonna get tons of comments in the comments about this whole little project with the welding. That's cool. As long as you're not negative or a crap talker, you know, I'm cool with it. I don't mind constructive criticism, but there's a difference between constructive criticism and talking crap. One, I enjoy. The other one, you can get the hell out of here with that. So, but this should work for me, and that's all it needs to do. So I hope you guys are having a great week. It is Wednesday. We are almost 1 week from the NFL draft. I can't wait. Let's bring it on. So, big Carolina Panthers fan here. We'll see what happens. So, hope you guys are having a great week. I'll catch you later.